The 1970s were an interesting time for American dining. The fast food craze of the 60s was still in full swing, and the restaurant industry was trying to figure out how to appeal to a diverse group of diners, from baby boomers and their growing families to the emerging Gen X crowd. However, not every idea was a hit, and some restaurants were doomed to fail. Today we're looking back at 7 restaurants from the 70s that couldn't make the cut. From failed business strategies to changing tastes, these are the worst restaurants of the 70s that have since faded into history. Number 1, Henry's Hamburgers. Henry's Hamburgers started as a bright star in the early fast food industry. Founded by the Bresler's Ice Cream Company, Henry's first opened its doors in 1954 in Illinois. The chain aimed to emulate the simplicity and efficiency of McDonald's, offering a limited menu focused on affordable hamburgers, fries, and milkshakes. Their strategy was straightforward: cheap prices, quick service, and standardized offerings that could be replicated across locations with minimal fuss. This formula worked remarkably well in the 1950s and early 60s, leading to rapid expansion, with over 200 locations across the Midwest and South by the 1960s. However, as competition in the fast food market heated up, Henry's faced significant challenges. Unlike McDonald's and Burger King, which began investing heavily in brand identity, marketing, and menu diversity, Henry's remained tied to its no-frills model. They lacked drive-thrus, which became crucial to fast food chains as the focus on convenience grew in the 70s. Moreover, Henry's advertising was minimal, and their store aesthetics didn't keep up with changing consumer expectations. The drive-ins that once attracted young families became outdated as fast food restaurants transformed into dine-in establishments with modern designs. While McDonald's introduced the Big Mac and Burger King offered the Whopper to diversify their menus, Henry's was still primarily selling basic hamburgers. The lack of product innovation made them appear stale and uncompetitive. Additionally, unlike their competitors, Henry's didn't build a cohesive national brand presence, relying instead on local franchising without standardized national advertising. This made it difficult to build the brand loyalty that became crucial for success in a crowded market. Compounding these issues, by the early 1970s, Henry's had trouble maintaining food quality across franchises, leading to inconsistencies that hurt customer satisfaction. By the time they attempted to rebrand or diversify their offerings, it was too late. The aggressive expansion and adaptability of larger chains led to a rapid decline in Henry's customer base. By the end of the decade, they were closing locations across the country. And by the 80s, Henry's Hamburgers was largely a memory, with only a few independently owned locations surviving as relics of a bygone era. Number 2, the allure of the dinner theater. Beefsteak. Charlie's started as a classic New York steakhouse in the 1930s, but transformed dramatically in the 1970s to capitalize on the dinner theater concept. With a focus on creating an extravagant experience rather than just a meal, they aimed to stand out in a rapidly growing casual dining market. Their restaurants had an atmosphere that was almost theatrical, dimly lit with a rustic tavern-like design, aiming to evoke an old-world charm. The all-you-can-eat salad bar was one of their main attractions, but they didn't stop there. They introduced the unlimited shrimp cocktail and bottomless beer, wine, and sangria as part of their buffet offering. This approach drew in families and large groups looking for a great deal, turning a simple dinner into a lengthy, indulgent event. The atmosphere was loud, social, and boisterous, mirroring the carefree and celebratory dining trends of the 70s. However, the all-you-can-eat and drink concept turned out to be its Achilles heel. Unlike their competitors who offered limited refills or smaller portions, Beefsteak Charlie's had difficulty controlling costs. The overhead costs of providing free-flowing alcohol and large quantities of seafood were extremely high, leading to slim profit margins. Additionally, there was a challenge in maintaining food quality and presentation when serving buffet-style meals in large quantities, leading to varying customer experiences. As the restaurant industry moved into the 1980s, competition intensified, with chains like TGI Fridays and Chili's offering similar casual dining experiences, but with better menu diversity and more sustainable pricing models. Beefsteak. Charlie's failed to modernize or rebrand to adapt to changing consumer preferences, such as the growing health-conscious movement that frowned upon all-you-can-eat dining. By focusing too much on quantity over quality and failing to develop a long-term financial strategy. Beefsteak. Charlie's found itself unable to sustain operations. As financial woes grew and customer numbers dropped, the chain began closing locations rapidly, eventually disappearing from the dining scene. Number 3. Minnie Pearl's Fried Chicken. Minnie Pearl's Fried Chicken was launched in 1966, backed by the fame of Minnie Pearl, a beloved comedic persona from the Grand Ole Opry. The concept aimed to combine the popularity of Southern-style fried chicken with the rising fast food market, similar to what KFC was successfully doing. Initial excitement was high, leveraging Minnie Pearl's name and promising down-home flavors and recipes. However, one of the main problems was that the connection between the brand and Minnie Pearl herself was superficial. She had little to do with the business beyond licensing her name and likeness. This disconnect made it hard to build a loyal customer base that saw the restaurant as an extension of the Southern charm she represented. The franchise grew incredibly fast, with over 500 outlets at its peak. But this expansion was not carefully managed. Franchisees were often not provided with proper training, standards, or support, leading to inconsistent food quality and customer experiences. There were even significant differences in the recipes used from location to location, which meant that a customer's experience with Minnie Pearls could vary widely, a major issue when trying to build a recognizable and reliable brand. Another downfall was poor corporate leadership and financial mismanagement. The franchising company, Southland Corporation, failed to provide a strong business model, focusing on signing new franchisees quickly rather than ensuring each location was profitable and operationally sound. Many of these franchise agreements were poorly structured, leading to lawsuits and legal challenges that drained resources. Additionally, unlike KFC, which invested heavily in branding, marketing, and product consistency, Minnie Pearls did not establish a recognizable menu that set it apart. The result was that, by the early 1970s, stores were closing almost as quickly as they opened, and franchisees faced severe losses. By 1974, the chain filed for bankruptcy, becoming one of the largest failures in fast food history. Number 4. Royal Castle. Royal Castle, founded in 1938 by William Singer in Miami, Florida, was originally modeled after White Castle, but quickly established its own identity in the fast food market. Known for its small, square burgers sold for just 15 cents and signature root beer served in frosty mugs, Royal Castle provided a unique and affordable experience that appealed to both working-class customers and families looking for a quick, casual meal. The chain grew quickly in the 1950s and 1960s, with its peak reaching over 175 locations in Florida, Georgia, Ohio, and Louisiana. The nostalgic feel of their diners, often with counter seating and an emphasis on fast, personable service, made them a hit in their regional markets. However, they faced challenges as competitors like McDonald's and Burger King began to grow aggressively in the 1960s, offering standardized menus and drive-thrus, which Royal Castle lacked. One of the major issues that led to the chain's decline was the lack of innovation and slow response to changing industry trends. While Royal Castle thrived on simplicity, it failed to modernize its branding or diversify its menu beyond its core offerings of burgers and root beer. By contrast, chains like Wendy's, which launched in 1969, introduced new concepts like fresh, made-to-order food and the ability to customize orders. Royal Castle stuck to its slider-style burgers and did not develop a strong drive-through presence, which was becoming essential to fast food convenience. Another issue was quality consistency. Many franchises struggled with maintaining the original taste and feel of the brand, especially as the chain expanded without proper franchise support and training. The company also faced financial struggles due to poor corporate management and lack of investment in infrastructure or marketing. The introduction of more sophisticated and heavily advertised competitors quickly overshadowed Royal Castle's quaint and traditional style. By the 1970s, a combination of these factors, as well as market oversaturation by bigger brands with more resources, led to the steady decline of Royal Castle's locations. By 1975, the company was sold to Nashville-based Performance Systems, which attempted to revamp the brand but failed to reverse its fortunes. By the late 70s, most locations had closed or were converted to other restaurant concepts, leaving behind just a few remnants of the once thriving chain. Number 5, Carrols. Carrols began in 1960 as a family-friendly fast food chain with a menu focusing on burgers, fries, milkshakes, and other typical American fare. The brand aimed to compete with McDonald's, offering affordable meals, but also attempting to differentiate itself with a unique menu that featured items like the Club Burger and the Whopper Jr. Before it was popularized by Burger King, Carrols prided itself on larger portions compared to McDonald's, targeting diners who wanted more for their money. They also had a design distinctive for its time. The restaurants featured a castle-like structure with a bright orange roof, and their marketing pushed the idea of a fun dining experience, which included a cartoon mascot named Carol for children. However, while Carrols initially saw growth, their lack of a distinctive brand identity became a major issue. Unlike McDonald's with its iconic golden arches or Burger King's flame-broiled burger concept, Carrols didn't have a clear signature that set it apart. Their menu was varied but not revolutionary, and their efforts to create a standout product were overshadowed by competitors that were constantly innovating. The brand's attempt to mix elements of casual dining and fast food left it without a strong position in the market, creating confusion among customers about what made Carrols special. In the late 1960s, Carrols acquired the rights to franchise Burger King locations, and by the early 1970s, they were operating as both their own brand and as Burger King franchisees. This dual branding approach created internal competition and further muddled Carrols' identity. Eventually, it became more profitable to operate solely as Burger King franchises due to the stronger brand presence and marketing support provided by Burger King. As a result, the original Carrols locations were gradually converted to Burger Kings. By the late 1970s, the Carrols name had largely disappeared from the American fast food scene, leaving behind only a few locations in Finland and Sweden, where the brand still exists today. Number 6, Duff's Famous Smorgasbord. Duff's Famous Smorgasbord made its mark in the all-you-can-eat buffet scene during the 1960s and 1970s by offering a wide range of dishes at a single price. Their smorgasbord-style spread featured an extensive selection, including roast meats, fried chicken, carved turkey, casseroles, salads, soups, and a variety of desserts, aiming to cater to all tastes. The buffet had a distinct appeal. The concept of serve-yourself dining, which allowed customers to try a little bit of everything, was novel and offered a perception of great value. Duff's restaurants were designed to accommodate large crowds, with spacious seating areas that were suitable for family gatherings and big events, contributing to the brand's initial popularity. However, several factors led to Duff's downfall. The economics of running a buffet proved difficult to sustain as food costs rose in the 1970s. Managing the balance between providing abundant food choices and preventing waste was a major challenge. Unlike a la carte restaurants, where portions were controlled and profits were predictable, buffets required large quantities of food to be prepared and displayed, much of which would often go uneaten. Furthermore, the growing awareness of health and sanitation standards made it harder for smorgasbord-style restaurants to maintain food safety, particularly when it came to keeping hot dishes properly heated and fresh. This led to increased scrutiny from health regulators, making operations more complex and expensive. The rise of fast casual and sit-down chains that focused on fresher, more personalized meals also contributed to Duff's decline. As consumer tastes evolved, the idea of buffet dining started to be seen as lower quality, and the novelty of all-you-can-eat diminished. By the late 1970s, Duff struggled to remain relevant against these emerging competitors and faced shrinking profit margins. Attempts to reinvent the menu or update their service model were not enough to attract the modern diner, leading to the eventual closure of most locations by the early 1980s.